So, I guess this'll be the start. I'll just preface this, or however you say that. With, so this is going to be a guide for any percent of Shantae Risky's Revenge. At present, I have the world record time for this game, and we've got a pretty good idea of like the route has been set pretty well for the past few weeks. So I'm just going to go through and just kind of talk about everything that I know on how to do it for anyone who's going to pick this up. I don't know exactly how much that's going to happen, but, you know, people want to pick it up. I think it'd be nice for them to have a resource rather than having to, like, ask questions or find the IRC that, like, the 5 of us who know what we're doing go in there. So, or the 5 of us who have talked through the routing in this game a lot, so I'll just start with it. So the timing on this game is... There is an in-game timer, but the community doesn't use it just because it's not completely accurate with actual, like, real time. It's kind of up for debate whether we should be using the in-game timer or not. The in-game timer, from what we think, does not time the loading time between areas. What it does count the time. It either counts the time that it takes to go through the credits, or it counts the time between killing the final boss and getting to the credits. We're not really sure exactly, because the timing is a little weird compared to actual real time. So we use our own, like, timer, and so... time starts as soon as you select Shantae. If you haven't beaten the game, then this screen doesn't show up, and it would be timed after you started the game, but the timing is actually about maybe like 0.3 seconds of difference. It's 0.3 seconds faster to start timing from here rather than from the previous screen without having saved the game. Or without having beaten the game before to have magic mode, to even have the screen select open. So, this speedrun is done in normal Shantae. Magic mode doesn't save enough time because we never really run that low on magic. We use maybe 2 or 3 magic potions, and picking magic mode Shantae would decrease your effective health by enough that it would make you have to use more health potions than you would save in magic mode. So we use normal Shantae just because getting hit is more valuable than using slightly less magic. So time starts as soon as you select Shantae. I'm not going to have my timer running for this because I'm going to stop and explain things. But just for an example, I'll start the timer. But so in 3, 2, 1, go. So it would just be like there. And I'm not having it on through the run. Because otherwise you're just going to see it all turn red, because this is going to take a while for me to explain everything. So this is the start. You'll get intimately familiar with the start. So, okay, right here, you want to hit these big guys, it is basically the same thing, but the instant their right shoulder pad becomes on the screen, or when the middle of their head passes the tree in the background. That's the earliest time that you can hit them without their gems falling off the screen, because that can happen if you hit them too quickly. So this is the beginning. Again, I'll talk a little bit more about it. You want to get a run started where you get 40 gems from the enemies, and then the 10 that drops puts you up to 50. And if you don't get that, just restart. It's like the first minute of the run, and you have to do it dozens of times, depending on the RNG. I'm just going to do the backup strats that we use for racing or during marathons, which is if you don't have the luxury of being able to infinitely restart, then you just take what you get, and then later you grind for more gems. So you want to have 50 though. So let's start. Backdash. Backdash is the story of the run. So first thing you do is you have to go over here and get the egg immediately. The egg is required to progress. Normal game flow would be you go to the right, because going to the right is always correct in video games. run into Bolo, he'd tell you to go get the eggs and you have to run left, but you can just go get the egg immediately and then just talk to him twice. And then go into town. So here, there is a dialogue choice in this cutscene that you can just press no. You can just spam both the skip dialogue and the confirm button, because you can hit no in this dialogue option and it does the same thing as hitting yes. Which is nice. I wish most of them, or all of the dialogue choices did that, but they don't. So other than that, you just skip the skip dialogue button for everything. Hello, person in the chat. I'm making a guide. So this is the risky for one fight. It is entirely scripted. There is no RNG. It is very easy. You shouldn't really need anything explained for this. You just hit her whenever the barrel becomes available. It always becomes available at the same parts. Doing it once will pretty much have you learn it immediately. I guess something to note is that her cannonballs don't actually hurt you if you're jumping. Other than that, you just hit the barrel whenever it's available. I usually stand around this area because it means that I don't have to move at all. And then I can just walk slightly forward and hit her. Immediately after you hit her the third time, you want to get into a specific position, like right about here, so that you move very little at the beginning of the cutscene. That saves, like, frames. Doesn't matter. But, you know, it's something. And then you continue to spam skip dialogue. I believe there are 4 sections of dialogue that you actually skip. 5, actually. And then you keep back dashing. So now we're in town for the first shopping trip. Ordinarily you would have 50 gems at this point. You would go over here and buy Pike 1. We don't have 50 gems, so I'm going to do the backup strat, which you would never do in a serious run, but in a race or a marathon run or anything like that, you would do this. So, well, you have to save regardless. So you have to save your game or else the guys don't let you out of the town. Also worth noting is that the save option does default to yes, unlike every other dialogue box in the game. So you don't have to do anything with the control stick. So, you could either save and buy or buy and save, it doesn't matter. In this case, I'm just saving. So this is the backup strat. In a normal run, you don't do this. I'm just doing this so I don't have to grind a bunch of attempts to get a 50 gem start. And do an opening every time. One more. Ow. Okay, that's good enough. You could have any amount over 50 as well, obviously. It doesn't matter if you have more. And you buy Pike 1. Pike 1 is the fastest for the first dungeon. The fastest item you can buy. Special note, Storm Puff is actually faster for the first boss, but Pike Ball saves enough time in the dungeon that it is more worth it to get Pike Ball 1. And then you do the longest sequence of backdashing in the game. So I should talk a little bit about backdashing. There's a sort of rhythm to it. You'll notice there's very little pause between my backdashes just because I'm in the rhythm. You just kind of have to get used to doing it. Dropping backdashes is what I call it, when you just kind of, you mess up the rhythm and then you just kind of stand there awkwardly. Like, Yeah, I did that on purpose, but you get the idea. This is a warp squid. He's very important. You talk to him, you can skip his dialogue, unlike every other warp squid. All the other ones you have to say yes to, which saying yes is horrible, because no is the worst. The word no is the worst. And then you just keep backdashing. And I'm dropping backdashes. The spawns in this game are semi-random. They're a little bit random. sometimes there can be guys on the way here. It's a little bit bad luck because dodging them is obviously slower than being able to backdash uninterrupted. And then we just go normal game flow for this because we go and talk to Roddy Tops as the dog. And you can skip her dialogue. Obviously, there's no dialogue choices in it. And continue onward. This guy's a jerk. He's somewhat random. If you walk to the right, that's bad luck because it's annoying to get past him. There's not really anything to do about it. Just note that he can walk either way and it's annoying. I hate that guy. At some point during this beginning section, you want to equip Pike 1. You don't have to defeat any of the enemies. What's the button for skipping dialogue? It's like... on my controller it is the, like, select button, but... there's a button for skipping dialogue and there's a button for confirming, and... skipping dialogue is either like start or select or something, depending on your controller. You'd have to look that up for whatever your controller is. But you don't have to defeat any of the enemies in this first area, and they'll all respawn even if you do, so there's really not much point in bothering. So right here, this jump pad, you can just jump over it and immediately backdash to avoid getting hit by that guy and not having to defeat him. That's something that actually tripped me up for the first few runs. Oh, that guy was nice. Usually you just have to tank those damages, the damage from those guys. Probably because I'm being slow, that's why he was nice, but whatever. Alright, and now, deliver the dog. So we're introduced to the worst part of the game is dialogue choices that you have to say yes to, even though the game defaults you to no. So you can skip the first dialogue, and then the second one you have to say yes to. So, skipping dialogue that has choices in it. You cannot skip dialogue until after the first box. So this one, she says, can it be? You have to confirm to get past that first one. Then you can skip the dialogue to the choice. So you would go confirm, skip dialogue in that order to get to the choice on anyone who has a dialogue choice in it. Then you have to press right and then hit yes. I think that's obvious, but like... that's something that I recently figured out, is that you cannot skip the dialogue until you get past the first box for some reason. Which makes it a lot easier to not say no, or to, not say no, but it still happens sometimes because I'm bad. And you give her the dog, she gives you the tasty meal, then you kill her dog because it drops money. You need all that money. So this is why you want to have Pike 1, is because you want to kill these guys, because that's pretty much faster than tanking them, because they pretty much form a wall where you're going to get hit multiple times trying to jump through them, so killing them is faster. If you tried skipping it without confirming past the first box, it just doesn't do anything. That's what happens. And then you talk to this guy. You only have to press skip once on this guy, so you don't accidentally pause. There are 4 skips here, I think. So the thing about like dialogue skipping is that when you skip dialogue, it skips to the next animation. Okay, there's 3 there. It skips to the next animation. So if there are no animations in the dialogue, then you can skip all of it with just one button. Otherwise, there's however many animations there are, that's how many times you have to skip. Okay, so if you're hurt at this point, you can grab this heart here. I wasn't, but I did it anyway because I'm going to be explaining things. You shouldn't need the magic here, because you barely used magic at all. And now this is the main room. We go in here multiple times. Take that guy out with Pike. The timing is a little weird. You want to do it there while you're... So, to take out that guy, you want to jump and activate Pike while you're jumping. And that should allow you to hit him with it without really stopping, which is important. These guys never bother me. You just have to jump and not... Wow. Just have to jump and not get hit by them. Oops, I fell. It's okay, this is just explaining things. And then this room, you want to start Pike immediately as you go through the room. Because if you time it right, then you can do it like this, and that takes care of all the enemies that would be in your way. Without having to stop. This room, I jump and activate Pike here. And I messed up. But that would allow you to hit everything you need to hit with the Pike without stopping. This is a common trend. 0 out of 10 reset. Here, you want to get in here before the first fireball, and then activate Pike while you're walking across that top block so that it would be under you when you get to this bottom block and fall through it. Then you go in here. So, interesting note about these plant enemies. The first time that you hit them, they do no damage. We don't know why that is. It just is. Then you hit the key from here, and it drops down. Oh, he's spinning a lot. And then you just use the Pike ball to clear out these boxes. And you fall down. You do not need the gems here. Skip the dialogue of the key, and backdash. Because that lets you fall down pretty quickly. This door is kind of annoying. Oftentimes it just doesn't register you pushing up to go through it. And then there's this guy. You can jump and hit him in the face. He was being really mean that time, and just blocking the whole time, but sometimes he'll attack and that lets you kill him faster. He drops gems, you want all of those gems. It's very important. There's a limited amount of gems and we need to pick up all of them. So, this next room. This is the water room. This is one of the tighter rooms in the game, so I'm just gonna do it. It's kind of hard to explain, and then I'll probably go back and talk about it. Assuming I do it correctly, because sometimes I still mess it up. Because this is one of the tighter rooms in the game. Really, it's just this last part that's, like, tight. Yeah, that's okay. So, yeah, I'll just go back in the room and talk about it. So you can, so you enter the room, ignore that dude, you can just jump over this one. Then there's usually a guy here, it doesn't really matter if you get hit by him because this platform is always slow to get here. So you just hit him and wait for the platform. Hit it and jump onto it. You activate the Pike ball and then you jump onto here to avoid that guy, and then you want to hit this one as soon as you possibly can. With Pike ball still going so that you can always hit this one and then jump onto it. You can actually jump from the second platform to here, but it's really precise and barely saves any time, and it is basically run reset if you miss it, because swimming through this room takes a long time. So, that's the water room. It's a little bit rough, but once you practice it, it's not that bad. And we just go through here. So right here, you want to fall through this crack, and then you walk to the right, and then you immediately go into the same position that you were in before, because there's another fall here, like this. Oh, I missed it. But that's faster, just, you know, not hitting that above me, like I did. And then you just go down the room, hit that guy. Use Pike Ball to break these, because it means you don't have to stop. That room's easy. This room... So I do that just so I can jump immediately. You can probably jump from the beginning, but here, I'll show you. Oh, platform. So what I do is I jump and whip, because once you start the whip animation, pressing backwards lets you go backwards without turning. So you can hit it from farther away and then land back on this flower. If you just go here, then you can't make the jump immediately. I don't think it has to be as dramatic as I did it. You can probably do it from pretty close and still make the jump, but I try to get it as far as possible. And this room has 2 knights in it. Sometimes they're nice, sometimes they're not. I wish there was some way to make them actually attack on purpose, but... And they drop gems, those are also very important. So this is the skull room. Skull room is pretty easy. So you have to hit the lower part. If you jump as high as you can and hit the whip at the apex of your jump, then you hit the eyes, like that. Then when you come down, you activate the pike, and you jump up and you hit the bottom part right here. Hit those, and then the same thing on this side. Then you jump up here, hit that corner, run over, activate the pike ball, hit that corner, and then you hit these guys as they spawn. And same thing with these dudes. The key spawns down here, skip the dialogue for the key. And backdash away. And then there are more of these big demon guys. This is 20 gems, which is the most important part of this room. Is getting more gems. Because by the end of this dungeon you want to have 160 something. Exactly how much after the 160 doesn't really matter that much, but 160 is pretty much the minimum you want to have when you leave this dungeon. I'm gonna have it easily. But for jumping up here, it's pretty straightforward. One little trick is you jump and then at the apex, or like at the top of your jump, you activate Pike Ball to hit that platform, and then you don't have to jump again to hit that block and then jump on top of it. Here's another night room. You might be slightly hurt by here. I've had that happen a lot, so don't die. Good advice for this tutorial, don't die in your speedrun. And 169 is a pretty good amount. We won't really get any more gems, there might be a couple, but we won't really get any more gems until we go to our next shopping trip. There's no way to one-cycle this room, as far as we know. That platform is poorly timed. And we can just jump up here. When you fall down here, you press yourself up against the wall and then stop pressing a directional button to not land on any of those platforms. And you want to enter the door facing this way. So you can dash, dash, hit the thing, skip the dialogue, get monkey. So when you enter a door, your facing is preserved, which is important if you want to backdash immediately without having to turn around. That comes up occasionally, not a lot, no. And then we have Monkey. Monkey lets you cling to walls. That's all it does in the run. You might think that there's like Monkey Bullet in this, but there isn't. You activate Pike Ball while you're jumping again to hit that guy without having to stop. You have to stop and hit that guy, though. That guy. I'm pointing at the screen sometimes, in case you guys are wondering. I'm sure everybody understands, because I'm pointing at the screen. And you just climb up. And we're back in the main room. So we have to go and get this magic jam. There are no other magic jams that are faster to get than this one. And we have to get one magic jam in the run, so that's it. And we have to get it before the first shopping trip. Because there are faster jams to get, but they're after the first shopping trip, which doesn't help at all. And then you don't have to do the water room again because you have Monkey. So now we fall down to the right of this room. One trick that I do is I hold down the transformation button as I'm falling, so that the instant I hit the ground, I start dancing. That saves frame. Makes very little difference, but I always grab this to get magic, because I'm usually pretty low on magic. I'm lower than usual on this, but that's just from doing things slowly, probably. So for this room is like the alligator room, I guess. So you immediately hit the opening of his mouth right here, is these ones. Crawl, activate Pike Ball, and walk here, and that hits all of them without having to go into his mouth and then use Monkey to get out. When you hit the top of his head and his eye, jump over here and hit this guy again while he's spawning. Hitting enemies while they're spawning seems to do more damage than normal. I'm not sure exactly how it works. It seems like maybe you can hit them multiple times and their like invulnerability frame is smaller. Or, yeah, they have less invulnerability frames, but not exactly sure how it works. But hitting enemies while they're spawning is almost always better than hitting them after they've spawned. Actually, always better. And ordinarily you wouldn't get their gems, I just did it because I'm being slow. It doesn't matter that I have those gems, just that you wouldn't, just pointing out that you wouldn't normally have them. You use Monkey to get back up. Duh. Here you just climb up to the boss room. You can use the key on the door while Monkey, which is, I think, slightly faster? I don't remember. You grab those two magics and that's probably enough? Yeah, that'll be enough. And then you fight the first boss of the game, which is Squid Baron. He's a giant squid that we saw earlier. So he has 4 different attacks. That's an okay one. He has charging, he has his teleportation thing that he does right here, he has spawn children, and tasty meal. All of them are perfectly fine, there's very little variance between them, aside from tasty meal. Tasty meal is slow, and if you get 2 of them, like right here, this is the first one, if you get 2 of them, that's pretty much bad luck. Otherwise, things are pretty much okay. Doesn't matter. There's very little variance in the time it takes. It usually takes about a minute to kill him. There's not a whole lot to him, you just kind of wail on him. Oh, 2 tasty meals, that's bad. So, ordinarily I just dodge tasty meal and just tank the hits, but you can also transform into Monkey and avoid it by clinging to a wall. It is slower to transform because obviously there's the transformation dance and then the de-transformation before you can start hitting it again. So, usually a tasty meal will hit you once or twice, which each hit does half a heart of damage. So you kind of have to watch that as far as your health goes. I've never died to Squid Baron, but I suppose it's possible. And you just grab that as soon as you possibly can. And you can spam confirm here, because the cutscene doesn't stop. Shantae doesn't stop spinning until the confirm button is hit. Skip that dialogue, and we're off. So that was the whole first dungeon. And now we're going back to the Forest Warp. Forest Warp is, I think, the most used warp in the run. Oh my god. I'm dropping so many. Okay. So this is the same thing as I was talking about earlier with a dialogue box that you have to confirm. So, like I said, you can't... I'm pressing the skip dialogue button right here and it doesn't do anything. You have to get past the first box, then skip, then press right, then confirm. So it's confirm, skip, right, confirm. And then skip again. Confirm. And you warp to the only other warp squid, which is Lilac. And backdash! Enemy spawns here are again random, sort of. I mean, obviously there's spots that they can spawn, but whether they spawn there or not is random. You want to get the heart holder. We don't technically need it, but it is way safer and saves time. Most likely, depending on how many health potions you drink. So now we could just keep going to the left. You would think you would go back to this town, because the next part of the game is through the town. But actually we go and grab more gems, because they're just waiting for us to get them. Again, spawns here are slightly random, and what the Nagas do is slightly random. There's good and bad RNG to it, but it really doesn't make a huge difference. So we go over here, talk to Bolo, he gives us 100 gems. He says something, but I've never actually read what he says, because I never knew this was here, except for when I started speedrunning. And we activate this warp squid. Well, we don't use it. We just activate it and then leave. Then we walk backwards through this. Backdash backwards, you know, whatever you want to call it. And now we go to the first shopping trip. So I have 280 gems right now, that's actually a lot. Usually you'd have 260 something. I'm not sure how I got more gems, but whatever. I'm just gonna buy the same stuff anyway. So, first shopping trip, you buy one of every potion type, basically. You buy one of those, one of those, one of those, one of those, and Super Bite Ball. And that's all you buy. That's all you need in the game. And then you moonwalk out of the store. I'm sure that guy is very impressed. Oh, okay. That's what he said? Okay. And then you keep going to the left. Going to the left is a weird thing in video games, but you're doing it. And now for Polyp, the run ender. Kind of. You don't need that chest. You have all the gems you need. So, again, this is another part of the game where the timing is kind of tight. You kind of have to practice this part, because it can be a little bit... I mean, messing it up is a huge time loss. So, again, I'm just going to do it. There's not really much to explain with it. It's just, like, platform. It's just timing your jumps with the platforms. The very first jump is one of the hardest ones, because you have to jump pretty much at the very, like, very close to the edge. I'll see if I can get it right first, the first time. I've been doing it pretty well lately. Yeah. And then it's just quick platforming. I'll try and do it perfectly here, and then if anybody wants to do it, you can just watch this and then try and practice it. I haven't been able to figure out any way to make this faster, because there are a couple of times when we actually just have to sit and wait. But because of the way that the platforms work, they don't all run at the same time. They are dependent on when you get there. There's no way to get there at a different time and have them in a different place. They're always in the same place when you get there. So that was basically it. That one went pretty well. Messing it up is horrible. It just feels awful because you're like 15-20 minutes into the run. So, and as soon as you get here, you can transform back into Shantae and backdash. Backdash, always. Well, not always. Backdashing is a little weird, in that one backdash doesn't make a huge amount of difference, because you have to turn around to do it. You have to turn around and walk to the opposite direction slightly to do it. So unless you're backdashing multiple times, often it is not actually worth it to do. It's really... it's finicky. It's... I don't think we have it... I don't think I have a like perfect understanding of when to backdash and when not to backdash. But I've practiced this a lot, so I'm mostly just doing it unconsciously now. Or it's just, oh, I backdash here. So you activate that warp squid that we never use again, and we go to the one that we activated earlier at the pumpkin patch. Which is why we activated it before, so we didn't have to walk back through Polyp. And also so we didn't, well, we wouldn't have walked back through Polyp, we would have warped to Lilac, which is slightly slower. Maybe. It's about the same, actually. Anyway. At some point here you want to equip Pike 2. There were no real enemies in Polyp, so I never bothered to do it until around now. Though I don't actually kill anything until we get into the deserts. Here, I just tank that guy because it's really difficult to avoid him, and why bother? And we get to the desert. Here, there are enemies here that are annoying, and I'm not sure if it's faster to hit them or take the damage. Okay, now I should start talking about pot duping, or vase duping, or whatever you want to call it. So I'll talk about it right here. Oh nice, he dropped the magic. Okay, so duping is duplicating. Shoutouts to Zephyrs who found this. Basically, when you so notice the vase on my left right there. When you stand inside of a vase and activate Pike Ball, both of the Pike Balls, you notice they appear from inside of Shantae, the middle of Shantae's hitbox. If both of those Pike Balls hit the same vase on the same frame, it breaks the vase twice and drops 2 of whatever's in the vase. So in certain cases, we know that certain vases have the same drops every time, which means that we can manipulate it to get 2 of that drop, which is almost entirely used for getting more magic. So this vase immediately to my left has magic in it, and I can get 2 magic drops instead of 1 by doing that. I pretty much have that routed in because I'm always low on magic here. Because I stop, dupe that vase, and then go. Right here, I go to Monkey to jump over this because then I can also jump over this Naga easily, do this platforming section easily, jump over this Harpy easily. And it's not... It's maybe like a second slower to do that as not Monkey, but whatever. Okay, now this desert cave, there are a bunch of bats, and some of them are avoidable and some of them are not. This first one is avoidable if you backdash properly and don't drop any backdashes, so I'll see if I do it right. Oh no, it was going really fast. Sometimes it just goes fast. This one is never avoidable, you always have to kill it. Obviously it's faster to avoid them than kill them. And if you're still low on magic, then you can dupe this pot as well, because that always has magic in it as well. Dupe that vase, whatever. So right now we're delivering the deed. There's a story to this game. I haven't been talking about it. Sorry about that. You should play the game if you don't know the story. You should just play the game. The game's fun. You can just skip his dialogue. You have to skip 3 times. And again, this one has a choice in it, so you have to confirm skip. Yes. Also, sometimes if you mash the dialogue skip, you can pause during dialogue, which is weird. But you can do it. Whatever. It's just something to know. There's not really much you can do about it. You'll just do it sometimes. And then you keep going through the cave. There's a zip here. I'm not doing it. It's faster to just do that. And then go down there. I'll talk about zipping later. There is a zip there, though, and it's not faster than not zipping. I just like it because it looks cool. What? Huh. I'm not sure what happened there. So this section, most people I know do this section as Monkey. It is slightly slower, but safer, and you're not going to take much damage doing this as Monkey. I do this as normal Shantae, just because it's faster. It's maybe like 3 or 4 seconds faster, but still. Oh, I should reset the room, because the enemies were moving about while I was talking. So again, there's not really much to talk about with this room. You just kind of do it. You want to get this guy's attention so he turns and stops moving, so that you can jump between him. Then you activate the Pike Ball just to hit those guys and then deactivate it, because you want to save the magic. Over that guy, backdash. That's something, if you're doing this section as Shantae, then you want to be doing backdashes where they're available, because that's the only thing that makes it faster. Otherwise, you're better off doing it as Monkey. Most people I know do it as Monkey, I do it as regular. And then we're into Battle Tower. This is Barracuda Joe. I don't like him, because he has 2 dialogue options. and the timing on them, and it feels weird, I don't know. So you have to skip, so again, confirm, skip, right, confirm, skip, but then he does that. I don't know. Yeah, his is weird. And you say yes to confirm. Battle Tower is pretty easy. Obviously, you can just watch your health and magic. And this is really the case where duping comes really into play. So, because if you stand in the middle, you can dupe both of those pots and get 2 hearts and 2 magic drops. Along with all the other instances of that throughout Battle Tower. Other than that, it's pretty much just hitting enemies as they spawn is faster than hitting them after they spawned, and that's pretty much all the tips. Another thing, I guess, duping, you can dupe the drops for the clocks, which extend your timer. So when normally they would give you 20, instead they give you 40 seconds bonus. Which makes it so you only have to pick up very few of the clock drops. I only pick up the ones on 2... I don't remember all of them, but exactly, but... And you can do that room without grabbing any of the chains, and that's faster. Chains suck. I only pick up the clocks that are in the way, basically. I mean, obviously you have to stop to pick up clocks, which makes any of them slow. But you have to pick up some of them, or else you probably won't have enough time. Another thing to note, there are a lot of gems that drop in Battle Tower. You don't have to pick any of them up, because we're never going shopping again. Slime room. Slime room, you just kind of tank. Just trying to dodge the enemies is usually going to be slower than just tanking and hitting all of them with pike balls. So you notice, like, with that one I got 40 seconds bonus instead of 20, even though it said 20. Here I stand right, like, on the edge of this block, and usually that hits all of them while they're spawning, which can clear that side of the room really quickly. There's not a lot of tricks to Battle Tower, it's just kind of whatever. Also, yeah, I didn't need to get that clock, just because I had gotten one extra one earlier, because I'm way up on time compared to what I normally am. Again, you notice how quickly those guys died because I was hitting them while they were spawning. Not exactly sure why it works, but it does, so. And then this is the night room. It has 4 knights. I stand in the middle just to try and, like, I feel like you want to stand pretty close to them and then hopefully they attack. Being able to hit any of them as they attack is, you know, useful. If you stand on one side of the two that spawn, then one of them might attack without you being able to hit them. Then this is the last 4. I have a lot of magic going into it, so I don't really need to conserve that badly, but if you mismanage, then you might be a little bit low, and you might want to, like, deactivate Pike Wall between waves. It barely saves any magic, but it does save a little bit if you can, like, space out how you activate it like that. Of course, you barely need it for the knights anyway. So you want to stand right here, because then you can hit this guy, regardless of if he is shielding or not. This guy's a jerk, though, because he always walks to the left, and then you have to do him the normal way. Which is hope that he attacks and hit him in the face if he's not attacking. And that's the second crest. Same thing as the first one. You just hit the confirm repeatedly until she stops spinning. Then you talk to Joe, get the key, and get out of there. There's 3 dialogue skips there. There's 1 here. Wait, yeah, 1. Then we walk back through the desert. I'm a little low on magic, which makes my return trip a little bit sucky, but whatever. I just tank that damage because jumping over him is hard. Ordinarily, I'd use Pike Ball on those guys to kill them instead of having to like jump around them, but I'm low on magic and I conserve, which sucks. And now we do the desert climb. This slime is random. Sometimes he's standing here and he'll hit you and it's annoying. That time he was okay, whatever. I hit him instead of him hitting me. So you transform into monkey and you just, you know, climb. If you climb fast enough, you can get in between these arrows, and I messed it up, but you can get in between the arrows and not get hit. It barely does any damage anyway, so it doesn't matter that much. But it is slightly slower, obviously. That's the last warp squid that we have to wake up, and we go to the forest. So, now we're heading to the big skip. This is going to require some talking about. I guess, well, I don't really have to explain how it works, but I'm probably going to anyway. So we head to where we would normally head to if you're playing the game casually, is the forest cave where there's the key that we just got. Or where the key that we just got goes to, anyway. Okay. So we walk in here. There's magic. There's another magic drop right here that I do every time because there's very little magic drops left in the game. So we go in here and we want to knock out this guy. I'm going to knock out the other slime just for explaining purposes, but normally you wouldn't. So there's another slime over here and he's annoying, and I killed him. So. Okay, so the way zipping works, because the warp is an extension of a zip. So zipping works, if you're in a one-height area like this, you can whip your hair, right? You can also whip your hair or in any other area, you can whip your hair and cancel it into a backdash. They didn't make it so you can't do this in a one-height area. So when you do this in a one-height area, the game moves you to the right until it can figure out what to do with you. In this case, it moves us out of bounds. So I'm going to do that right now. Right, okay, so right there, I moved out of bounds. I'm now to the right of the room. You can't see me because the camera doesn't follow. But I went to the right of the room and fell until I hit a platform. We don't know what this platform is, but there's a platform here. I'm on a platform right now. You could, if you listened, you can hear Shantae's land, which is very important. In fact, I'm going to turn the sound up right now. Just slightly. Alright, that's good. So, I'm on a platform right now, and what you want to do is you walk to the right. You'll be able to hear the footsteps. And as soon as they end, you stop walking to the right. There. I fell one layer down and landed on another platform. So that was the first one that we got onto immediately. We walk to the right, we fall onto another one. Now we walk to the right and we fall onto another one again. The second one is really small, so I barely walked at all. So now we're on the third one. I walk to the right again. And we landed. Actually, I heard the noise of walking on, like, wood, which means I think I skipped... So, the second and third platforms in this are very thin, And I think I moved to the right too much after the first one and skipped the second and third one, so that means I... no, you don't continue to hold down right as you're falling. So I walked off the first one, landed on the third one, skipped the second one, so then I just landed on the fourth one. Alright, I'm gonna do this again, because I know I can mess it up. Just to get myself back in the room. Because I'm gonna do it again, because I don't feel that I explained it very well. Because if you walk to the right off the last platform, then it just kills you instantly, and you fall and you respawn in the last door you entered from. So I'm gonna do it again. Okay, so zip, land, right? Okay. So now we move to the right. Stop, because I stopped hearing the footstep sounds. Land. Good. Keep walking to the right. Land. Keep walking to the right. I did it again. Alright. Basically, once you hear your footsteps change, that means you're on the last platform, because I walked off to the right, and I heard my footstep sounds change, which means now I fell off the last platform, so now I should walk to the left. And that warps you to the third to last room in the game. We don't know why that works, it just does. Shoutouts to Freeball1, who found that warp. I found the first one, but this one that he found is 5 minutes earlier into the game, because there are multiple warps that take you to this same place every time. We're not sure why, but there are. So that's how the big warp works. There was another tutorial by Nasrafe who posted it on his Twitch. I'll probably put a link in the description when I put this on YouTube, and maybe even on Twitch. I don't remember. I don't remember where it is, but well, it should be on his channel. Anyway, this is the third to last room of the game. And now we're in the second to last room, and it's all dark. You just backdash through this. This vase always has magic in it, so you can dupe it to have almost full magic. And then you want to jump and try to pass by that torch, and hold... oh, jeez, I messed it up. And hold to the right. So, something not immediately apparent is that there's water here. Well, that's apparent, but there's water, and there's a slight, like... the ceiling comes down, and you have to jump to get under it, basically. Which allows us to beat the game without transforming into Mermaid, because all we have to do is jump. So you would come here, and then I use Pike Ball here, because there's always magic in that one as well. So that puts me at full magic. For the boss. You have to monkey to get up here. I'm taking a lot of hits, which I probably shouldn't, but, well, I am. Right here, there's another zip. The zip there is a little weird. I'm just going to kill the enemies and talk about it a little bit. It doesn't need that much explaining. But basically, if you try to zip underneath a one of these dragon head things, then it puts you in the floor, and then if you walk to the right, it moves you to the right. Which is different from normal zips, because if you zip like right here, which I'm just under the ceiling, then it just moves you all the way to the right. That's worth mentioning just because it requires another input that you might not expect. And now onto the boss of the game. There's another dialogue choice here, so that you can hit no for, and it has the same effect as hitting yes, so you have to spam both skip dialogue and confirm here. And I just passed it, so now I can just go back to skip dialogue. Bosses, so this boss, Risky 2, is well, not entirely, it's largely RNG. Basically, anchor's good, anchor's bad, barrel's good. If she anchors, then she's going to walk. She almost never anchors and then barrels. She cannot do 2 anchors without showing a barrel. Or she cannot do more than 2 anchors without showing a barrel. See, like that. And the maximum amount of anchors you can get without missing a barrel is 8, which is awful. On good runs, you get maybe like 2 or 3 anchors. I've had a 1 anchor before as well, but I've also heard that someone's gotten a 0 anchor before, but I've never seen it. Other than that, you just kind of wait for her to show barrel and avoid her whenever she anchors. It's very easy. I use the pike ball to hit her just because it'll hit her as soon as it's available. So I have no chance of missing the barrel, which loses a lot of time. Again, like the first risky fight, in case it ever comes up for you, the cannonballs do not hurt you. Sorry. The cannonballs don't hurt you, it's the explosion from them hitting the ground that hurts you. So if you jump, you do not get hurt by the cannonballs. And you can duck to avoid the anchor, so Risky really isn't trying very hard, basically. It takes 4 barrel hits to beat her. Also, if you stand on the very left of the stage, she never hits you with cannonballs, so she's really not threatening at all. It's just kind of a time sink. And that's risky too. So now on to Shantae. There is a quick kill for Shantae that we have a vague idea of how to do, and I can't really explain it very well because I can't do it consistently. So I'm just going to show the normal way to beat her once there's more information about the quick kill. In that more people can do it consistently. There is a single guy who can do it consistently, but I can't. It's not me. So, Shantae. There's not much to her other than you just kind of wail on her. No, pike ball doesn't do more damage, it just hits faster. I've heard that you have to hit Evil Shantae 400 times. I don't know if that's true or not. I believe it, but I don't know if it's true. Oh, I messed that up. So, obviously she can transform into all the animal forms that Shantae can, and which should only be monkey, but hey, you know, whatever. The game didn't expect us to sequence break. Mermaid is easy to avoid, you just stand under her, and then hit her when she comes down. Elephant is also pretty easy. During her first phase, she shakes her hips 4 times and then charges as elephants. That's how I've learned to count it, basically. Oh, I need to heal. 2, 3, 4, charge. See? And she also has Monkey, which dashes across the screen 3 times in first form. And now she's in second form. Second form is way less predictable and way faster. It takes her half the time it takes her dances half the time, and they do more. Elephant is very predictable in second form. Monkey is not. Monkey is... It shoots across the screen a random amount of times, basically. Between, like, 3 and, like, 6, I think. Four, 5, yeah, 6. Yeah. Mermaid shoots out 5 volleys, or I think either 5 or 7 volleys of bubbles instead of 3, which is the amount she shoots out in Burst form. Other than that, it doesn't do more damage, everything is just faster, so you just keep wailing on her. And time stops as soon as she starts exploding. I guess it should be worth noting how much damage everything does. Elephant and Mermaid attacks do 2 or half a heart of damage. Everything else she can do to you does a 1/4. Which is useful when you're keeping track of your health so that you can know when to use potions. Evil Shantae takes maybe like 2.5 to 3 minutes normally, and that would be time right there, as soon as she started exploding. Everything after this is just credits, but you still have to skip the dialogue. Well, you don't really, but I guess it depends on how the in-game timer works, I don't know. Anyway, so that's basically it. Yeah. We have a general understanding of how the quick kill works, but we can't consistently reproduce it. Or at least I can't. There's a single guy who swears by it, and I believe that he can do it. It's just that nobody else can do it, so we're not sure what's up with that. Basically, the way that quick kill works is you have to stand inside of her after she finishes transforming into either monkey or mermaid, hit her, and then get hit by her, and then hit her and get hit by her on the exact same frame. That's pretty much our understanding of it, but it's very difficult to do, and the timing is weird, and basically once we have it figured out more, it'll be better, but right now we're not sure. Other than that, yeah, that's the whole run. If anybody who's viewing this wants to pick up this game or running and has questions, you can contact and ask me on Twitch or YouTube. I'm Devil Joe on both of them, or if you can find we also have a Shantae room on IRC on the Speedruns Live IRC? I don't know exactly how IRC works, sorry. I don't know exactly how to explain it, but somebody else can. If you ask in the thread on Speed Demos Archive, I also check there occasionally. Yeah, 58 minutes is pretty long. But other than that, I've said other than that like 5 times on this outro. And you get your nice Shantae bikini picture later at the end, so thanks for watching. If you have questions, let me know. Oh, somebody's saying that they did ask me a question and I didn't respond. Oh boy, I look bad now. Alright, well, thanks for watching.